Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Okay, so I've got something to say. On today's episode, I again have my gorgeous Aunt Robin, who is going to be having a conversation today with following in line with the first two episodes of this series on outliving your child. And today we are going to have it be a special episode just dedicated to my cousin Kyle. And so I'm gonna I'm gonna let my aunt share with you about her son. So Aunt Robin, say hi.
Hello.
So let's go ahead and get it started. And let's just make it personal.
Okay. Well,
So
first of
tell
all,
me about him. Tell
I
me
was
his
just
name.
going to say, thank you for letting me talk about him because he was my baby and I had him when I was 33. He was my youngest, and then there was like 5 years in between the middle boy and 8 years between the middle to the top. And when my son started high school, along came Kyle. So he was definitely the baby. He was born in the summer, and I felt like I could have carried him forever. He was very low, and I felt like I had to hold my legs together. But he he was a very easy pregnancy.
Was he?
Yeah,
Okay, so tell me his full name.
it's Kyle William Combe.
And how old was he? He was 19 when he
He
passed
was
away.
19. Uh, what else?
Okay, so he was an easy pregnancy.
Very much.
Was he an easy baby?
No. Kyle had a streak. He was so stubborn. He was headstrong. Um, yeah, he was definitely that.
So
He's the type of kid you don't take to the store because if they have something on the checkout, you're going to buy every single one of them, or you're going to have a screaming kid.
so then if he was like that as a baby, I'm assuming his toddler years were the same? Toddler,
Yes, it's
early
toddler
elementary?
years. Yes, actually, when he was a baby, he was good, but it was when he was the terrible twos, started at about one and lasted a few years. Oh yeah, he could hang with the best. But you got to remember, he had two older brothers,
Yeah.
so he was gonna, yeah, he had two older brothers that he thought he had to take after.
You know what's funny is I can remember with not to make this about me by any means. Jacob, even though it was only him and Michael, Jacob was like, because Michael always let his olderness reign over Jacob, Jacob at very young age was like, had to figure out how to be the fighter to be like, nope, not going to take it.
I get it.
Where then Michael ended up being like terrified of Jacob. When Jacob would get in that, like,
That's
Jacob would
hilarious.
hit that place of where he snapped, man, and just be like, I'm done. And then Michael would be like, ah.
Oh, did the
So I
table
get it.
turn?
That young one, it's fight or flight almost in a sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he
So,
was a tough cookie.
so as a baby, he was a pretty good baby though.
He was. He slept through the night pretty good about every night as a baby, about, oh, I'm going to say from 4 to 7, cry, cry, cry. I
Really?
never had a baby. The other two boys never did that. Call it colic, whatever you want. But he really was a good baby, very content. I could put him anywhere. Uh, he knew at a very young age what the target signal meant because me, Aaron, and Kelly would go to Target. And I think that was his first word. He'd see that round red dot, and yeah, we did Target a lot.
How was he in school? Did he like school?
You know what? Kyle loved school, but as he got to be a little bit older, he was so not good in math, and it bothered him. I mean, to the point where he felt like he was failing. And I said, you know what? That's just one subject. And bless his heart, he would stay after school because he was on in high school. He was on the football team his freshman year, so in order to play, you have to have passing grades, of course. And so with the math, he'd go after school tutoring and then with the teacher. And then we paid for a tutoring service that he'd go to twice a week. And he's like his mom, he just could never get math. And so when he had that struggle, he didn't like it as much.
Mm,
No.
yeah. He have lots of friends, make lots of friends.
Pardon?
Did he make lots of friends easy?
You know what? He was very likable. He would talk to anybody. It's funny because one time Jim picked him up at the school office in high school, and all these kids were walking by. Hi, Kyle. Kyle, the principal. Hi, Kyle. I'm like, oh, the principal knows your name. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? He was a very well liked boy. I
Oh,
mean,
that's rad.
he was a good friend.
Yeah. So was he quirky or no? Like, you know how they have that dance move out that's like all the
Yeah,
rage right now, the floss?
yeah.
I
Deegan does
could
that.
totally see, I could kind of see him do that in my head. Like,
Yeah, him and Rhiannon would actually get his cousin would get together and record stuff on Aaron's computer because that was back in the day when we didn't have all this good stuff. And oh my goodness, to listen to the two of them was hilarious. They were funny. As far as his real personality, he was very serious, and so was my firstborn. Um, but he could cut up just as easy as the next person.
oh man. Did he have favorite toys? Like when he was young?
GI Joe, GI
Yeah,
Joe.
Joe.
And he collected Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figurines.
Oh yeah.
And one time when we went to move, he was older, and I sold them. Oh my goodness! But I kept GI Joe. Matter of fact, I gave that to Deegan,
Oh, rad.
my grandson. So yeah, he was very sentimental. So when you gave him something, him and Shane both. Well, actually, all three of them. Now that I think about it, yeah.
Dude, hold on to it. What did he like to watch on TV? Did he have, well, G.I. Joe, was G.I. Joe one of his favorite cartoons also?
No, Barney. Good
Oh,
old
that's
Purple Barney.
Christy. Yeah.
It was it really? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, they were close in age.
Yeah. So Christy actually, yeah, that was,
Yeah.
that
And
was,
I got to tell you a funny story about Barney. Jim was putting away the Christmas lights or in the attic, and I was sitting on the couch, and Kyle had gotten a Barney book, hardbound, and he throws it at me and says, "Here, read this to me." He was young. Hit me in the eye. The corner of the book popped out my contact, and of course he went running to Jim like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Well, let me tell you something. I had a black eye, a good one, my only one in my whole life. For about 3 weeks, explain that to people. Oh, my 3-year-old gave it to me. Sure. That was so embarrassing. But anyway, yeah, he gave me a black eye.
oh, that's hysterical. I don't think I can remember that story.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was bad. I have pictures of it.
Were you guys in the house with the pool?
Yes. Yep.
Wow. I don't
Yep.
remember.
And I remember it so vividly because it hurt. I mean, I was
Oh, I can
crying.
imagine.
And it wasn't a thick book. It was thin, so that made it worse because
Oh,
it caught wind when it
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
from across the room. I'm like,
If it was
uh,
heavier, it would have been slowed down some.
yeah, exactly. It never made my face.
Was
Anyway, so yeah, he liked them, and he liked. He would never admit it, but he liked. Oh gosh, what's the name of that program that the three dads raise the three girls, and the two are twins, but
Full
not in the.
House?
Yes, he loved that show. And yeah, we won't tell anybody though.
So he would be watching the Fuller House episodes. You know,
Absolutely. I mean, every day,
that's
3:30, I think it came on.
that's funny.
Yes.
Yeah. He probably had a crush on DJ or something.
Yeah, who did, right?
What else? What were other things that he liked to do? Like,
He liked, when he was younger, bless his heart, collecting insects. So when he started kindergarten, he comes home with his backpack and he goes, I brought something for you. I unzip it and all these crickets come flying out of this backpack. And he says, look, when me and my friend, whatever his name was, went and were collecting at recess, and I put them in my backpack for you. I was like, what do I do with these? So yeah, he thought nothing of it. Thought nothing of it. Scared me to death. He was a bit of a jokester, but he was the type of person that he wasn't outwardly laughing if I fell for it, but it was more of a snicker, like, you know. Uh, just he had a very, very good heart, though. I mean, he was loyal, eh, unbelievable. Like his favorite saying, and he learned, or not saying, but uh, in the movie Patriot, where William Wallace he says a poem or a saying. I have it, but it's it's not too long, but it's basically about being freedom and how we, being a patriot. And oh my gosh, he learned that at such a young age, and that kind of explains a lot of him. Um, if you told him a secret, and he'd take it, he would not tell anybody. He
Wow.
was he was very loyal. If he hurt somebody, he had no problem saying, I'm sorry.
Oh, rad.
Yeah, he really did have a good heart.
Um, I feel like I think I was texting you about this last night. I feel like it was at his services where when you talked about groceries. No, it was Shane's. Um,
Yes, it was Shane's.
okay.
Kyle would bring the groceries in when I got home if I asked him to, and if he wasn't in the middle of WW whatever. Uh, but yeah, he would help me, but it was more of an effort to get him to do
Yeah,
that.
because he was the baby.
Yeah, of course.
It's funny because that's how Jacob is. Um, so do you know, did he ever share what he wanted to be when he grew up?
Yes, what every kid at that age wanted to do back then was to invent or make video games. That he was going to do it. And guess what? My grandson's in there wanting to do, and he's 9 years old. You got it. Make video games. Actually, he wants to do podcasts, and he's got some on YouTube explaining all his uh, shoot, animals, whatever you call it. He's going to kill me if he heard that, on the game he's playing, explaining to everybody on the podcast who they are, like they care. But yeah, Kyle was, and it's funny because Kyle, for some reason, I guess because he was my youngest, a lot of us sometimes will call Deegan Kyle by mistake. Never Shane, but always, and we all just kind of, not so much his mom and dad, but Jim and I for sure, and sometimes his aunts.
Oh,
But
that's sweet though.
yeah,
That's Ember is very much Christy, Adam's daughter.
really.
Oh,
Well, she looks like her for sure.
got her personality too,
Mm.
which I think is hysterical.
Yeah, she seems like a character. She
Yeah,
seems
she is.
cute.
She's also got a lot of spunk to her as well. So I
That's
think
not a
her
bad
daughter
thing.
deserves it. Yep. Um, so let me ask you, what do you miss about him the most?
He kept me youthful because he was my youngest. I was going to learn whatever he wanted me to learn. I was going to do whatever he wanted. I was going to jump however high he wanted me to jump. He kept me that way. He he just kept me moving and grooving. I mean, I could not say no to him. He would insist I don't play video games. I never have. I've sat in front of him for so many years that I can't even tell you, but um, I would sit with him, and that's all he'd want, just sit there. I miss that. Oh, lots, lots. He was a traditional boy. He had a very precious girlfriend that I keep in touch with. Do you remember her?
Sort of.
She's, of course, married and has kids and keeps in touch. But he,
Ugh,
when they were talking marriage, because he died at 19, they met at 16. So they were, together a long time. He wanted her to be able to stay home from work, and they wanted to have a lot of kids. I mean, he was very traditional for old times. he, anyway, I don't know if you want me to talk about his trade and all that.
no, yeah, go for it.
Okay. He decided his senior year he was going to get his GED, which he did. And we weren't happy that he quit school, but when it's your youngest, you don't fight as hard. Uh, so he told us he loved my dad. My dad was an iron worker, belonged to the union, very tough man. And Kyle really idolized him. And so he decided he was going to go down to the union hall, and he did, drove himself down there and wanted to be a sheet metal worker. And so here's this 18-year-old kid asking about how does he get into the union. Well, they gave him kind of the runaround. Well, some old man, pulled him aside and said, "Come with me." And he got in. And so he was a sheet metal worker. He was 19 years old. He had a life insurance policy, of course, just gotten it because he passed at 19. He had insurance, medical, dental, made good money. So he wasn't going to be my lazy boy. He wasn't going to be, he was going to go out there and make it. And that is because of his values. That's what, that's what a mom wants. You want your children to, as much as we don't want them to leave home, you want them to continue to nurture themselves.
I've always told my boys the greatest gift you can give me as a parent is to leave and not come back. Not
Yeah.
because you're not welcome back, but because you don't need to come back.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
That's exactly right.
yeah. Um, and what is your, I have a butterfly for Christy. What is your little symbol um, that you have that reminds you of Kyle?
I don't have the poem with me. I could look it up on Facebook, but Kyle, one time, he was probably seventh grade, sixth grade. We were living in Utah. We were at the checkout stand in Home Depot outdoors, the outside one, and he saw live ladybugs in a bag. And he said, "Mom, buy these. I want them as a pet." I said, "They'll fly away." And he said, "I don't care. I don't care." So of course, it's Kyle. You buy them. And we go home and he starts getting upset because guess what they're doing? They're flying away. But he just loved them. And I'll just never forget that story. So, needless to say, ladybugs are very special to me. I can look up the poem or we can just forget about it. That's
Well,
fine with me.
up to you. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, we'll just forget about it. So that's why I like ladybugs, and I get gifts that are ladybugs. I have ladybug everything, and I love it.
Don't you have a tattoo?
I do. That was, I'm not a tattoo believer, and my boys would probably go nuts because I did get one a year after he passed on his anniversary. That's my oldest son took me and to one of his friends, and I have a little tiny ladybug on my wrist, and I love it.
Yeah, Christy is butterflies. That's when I
Yes.
so I get it. So I call them love notes from God is what I call them. So when I see butterflies,
Mm-hmm.
I always acknowledge them, especially we have lantana all through the backyard. And so they love the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And especially this time of year, they show up all the time and I'll just sit out there sometimes and be like, oh,
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
yeah.
See, I I I will have his friends, um, people that I've met through the years, whatever. If they see one on a window or they see one on a plant, they're always taking a picture and showing me. One girl that he went to high school with saw a license plate that said in so many letters Ladybug, and she took a picture of it and sent it to me, and I just thought that was so sweet, so
Yeah.
sweet.
I know I
But
every time I see ladybugs, I always think of you and
you
think,
can't not,
yeah,
yeah.
there's no way around it. Um, so then what, let me ask you this last question that I have. Is there anything specific you want people to know about your son?
I think I pretty much said he was loyal. Like, I mean, my husband and I talk about that all the time, how loyal he was. Um, he was respectful. He was a good kid. I mean, I think he really could have done well. I really do. And it's just unfortunate that he didn't get that opportunity. But I got to think. What'd you say again?
What is there anything
Uh,
specific you want people to know about him?
that he was extremely respectful. Very. I mean, hold doors. Like if we were at a restaurant, whether it be us or not, he really, his girlfriend that he went with through high school said that he, to this day, she says he had the best heart.
Mm,
Um, yeah. And I miss him keeping me going,
yeah,
learning new things.
yeah. Mm. And he passed in what year?
2009, April.
Wow. It's so crazy.
I know.
It's weird how it seems so much more recent and so much longer at the same time.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Well, if you had one specific thing you wanted to say to him or about him, do you have anything specific you would want to say or to him or about him that somebody else doesn't know or that you think people should know?
He loved family. He It's funny because there's a difference between Shane was 27. I can remember so much, and yet I lost Kyle first, but he was also young. You know what I mean? He he just was so respectful to anybody. He really was.
I think that's the hard part about his age or even Christy's age kind of thing. Like there's so much that you didn't get to have.
Yes, and I'll tell you how respectful he was. One time, him and his friend were riding dirt bikes at their friend's house area. Well, they were going through those neighborhood parks on the grass. Well, here comes a police officer. Well, him and rather his friends took off. Not Kyle, he stood there, and they got off. Everything was okay. They got a slap on the wrist, but I was proud of the fact he didn't take off. He
Yeah,
knew he had done wrong, um, and so I kind of respected that.
yeah. So, is there anything you didn't say you want to say about Kyle?
I would like to say that I was super impressed. I don't even know if you were there that day when I know you came, but I don't know if he was uh, somebody big shot from the sheet metal work, the union came and presented myself and Jim with a pin that you have to earn. I mean, you have to be in them a long, long time. And he gave us another type of pin, like a lapel pin, that he wanted to go in with Kyle and put on a shirt. And you have no idea. I have those pins I don't have the one, but I have the one that he gave us in my, of course, put away, uh, uh, tucked away, I should say, right now because we moved, or everything's in packing, but usually it's in my china cabinet displayed right there. I will also say that, and I don't know if you want this or not. When Kyle passed, we had no idea where to put him, uh, his body, what to do. Never expected it. So we told Christopher and Jim and I to put our heads together, but think separate. Well, we all came up with the same place, which was where they're at. But when we went to pick out the area, I looked at the lady. She took us around on the golf cart to all these different gardens, they call them. And I looked at her and I said, take me to where you have a plot 333. I want that number because that's always been, Jim and I have been married almost 40, long time, 40, I don't know, 7, I
You guys
think.
just had your anniversary, didn't you?
Huh?
Didn't you
What's
just
that?
have an
No,
anniversary?
January. But anyway, so I wanted that. And we wanted not only 333, but we wanted a plot next to the boys for Jim and I. They had one. She goes, I cannot believe I have one because there was a lot of filled in areas. But anyway, so a lot of people hear that story and it's pretty amazing. I mean, to take something that's really horrible to have to find your son's plot, I just thought I got to turn this somehow.
Mhm.
And so yeah,
I
that's how
think
we
I
found where
think
we.
that's how we survive, is finding
Oh,
meaning in all of it. You got to find meaning in all of it, including in their, not necessarily meaning in their death, but meaning in the experiences after their death.
mm-hmm.
There's got to be
But
something.
yeah, I miss him terribly. He was unbelievable. He played hockey. He loved it. He was
Was he
pretty darn
roller
good at
hockey or
it.
ice hockey?
Ice hockey. And I remember the first time he got put in the penalty box. His brothers and dad are all proud, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was embarrassed. I didn't know. I just knew my son did something wrong.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
funny.
he did have it. Christopher has his hockey stick, his skates, because we had just bought him new skates. He had and pucks of and Kyle wanted the jersey. It was old time jersey. I was it the Phoenix Roadrunners, I think,
Mhm.
and it's kind of an Indian type of design jersey, and they're very expensive. Well, uh, I think Shane had it for a while. Well, now Deegan and Christopher have it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so we kind of passed that around. Um, it doesn't smell too good even still, but you know, let's see. He was very close to his cousins,
Mhm.
especially Rhiannon.
Rhiannon. Yeah.
Matter of fact, the day he passed, she texted me and said, I was gone. She said, I'm trying to get hold of Kyle and he's not answering me. And I said, well, that turkey or whatever I called him. And I got home, and of course, it wasn't good, but that they were very close. So really, she has a hard time. She spoke at his, I'm sure you remember. But yeah, he did love his cousins.
Well, I thank you for sharing the story about your son,
Oh, thank you.
about Kyle, and I'm honored to have this opportunity to have a platform to do it. I know it's hard with loss of any kind when we have somebody pass, but especially with our kids, It's very easy and also unfortunate that we ourselves or others can get so hung up on the death day. And
Yes.
so my point of this um, episode is that I just wanted to pay respect and honor the live dates when he lived. He'd be turning 30 this year. It's his 30th birthday when his
Mm.
episode airs.
Wow.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Kyle.
Yes. Happy birthday, Kyle.